Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. My name is Chuck Guglielmo, a weekly interview show where we talk with interesting people around the community. And today we are taping this show on Thursday, December the 27th. And my guest today is a local man, Alex Polchowsky. Alex, I think this is our third annual visit.
Yeah, always a pleasure when I come do this with you, Chuck.
It is my pleasure to have you on the show, and of course, when I have Alex on, that can only mean one thing. We're going to talk a lot of sports, and we're going to talk about a little bit about refereeing to start with. Alex, you have this is your third year now refereeing?
Yeah, third season.
Third year. Refresh my memory and some of those others as far as what made you get interested in wanting to do basketball refereeing.
I wanted to get into basketball officiating because I played, and obviously I thought that could translate into, over to officiating. And it was a big surprise because just because you played basketball doesn't mean you'll turn into a good official. I mean, there's a lot of adjustments, and it's a completely different side of the, you just see a completely different aspect of the game. But there are some things that translate from when you played to officiating that helps you. But it was still a big adjustment. And I don't know, I always wanted to enjoy it, and it turned into a job, and I'd like to make a career out of it if I'm lucky enough to do so.
Is it something, Alex, that you were contemplating for a while, or was it like one of those snap decisions? You woke up one day and you said, I'm going to go to school.
Yeah, when I went to Kent State, down at Kent State University, and I was always involved a little bit in intramural basketball and officiated a little bit of intramural ball. I just never I always thought about it, I just never actually pulled the trigger. And actually my dad got on me hard about it one day, and I seen the ad in the newspaper, and there's still, to this day, they need officials. There's still numbers are way down. And I just pulled the trigger, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
I was going to ask you that if they were short on officials, because the last couple of games that I've done for the Spartans, one of the officials that was doing the junior varsity game also did the varsity game.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. I mean, guys have other jobs and stuff, and sometimes it's hard to get to the venues, but they are, as far as I know, they're down. And I know I don't know about towards Cleveland area and Columbus area. I know in this area the numbers are down a little bit. But it's the main thing that you struggle with, like Conneaut, Ashtabula, Edgewood, this area, is a lot of the guys like from Cleveland can't come out this way because it's just they can't get there with their job. You got a 5 o'clock tip o'clock, 5 o'clock game. They got to come from Cleveland. That means they have to get off their actual job early, and it's hard to do that. Especially even middle school. Like the middle school games, they start at 4 o'clock sometimes, 4:30, and that's especially hard. And around here, there's guys. I mean, but the numbers are down for how many games you have each day. So it's hard to fill those spots.
To do two games, like the JV game and the varsity game on the same night, it's got to take a lot of wear and tear on your body. Of course, you're a young guy, but for an official that's like in their 50s or 60s,
it's rare. And normally you'll just do the JV game, and then a varsity crew will come in, or you just do a freshman. Sometimes, a lot of times, they'll do double header where two officials will work a freshman game and a JV game, and then the varsity crew will handle that. And some of these schools have went to, not all the time, but like I remember earlier this year, Edgewood and Lakeside played a triple header freshman JV varsity game, and sometimes you have triple headers, and you do that in that aspect.
Last time we talked, Alex, you were you were doing like 7th and 8th grade basketball. You were also doing junior varsity basketball, and you said it would take another year or two before you can get into varsity.
Yeah.
Where are you at on that stage?
I still just doing junior high and some JV basketball, and I'm eligible now to take the tests for my class 1 to become a varsity official. Haven't done it yet, but I'm eligible to do so.
Oh, well, good.
I just haven't felt comfortable yet. I know I could do it, but I wanted another year under my belt.
So it was up to you to make that decision?
Yeah. I could have got my class 1. I wanted another year under my belt. I just felt I needed it. I don't want to that's a big jump. You go from a 2-man crew to a 3-man crew, and the rotations are different and everything. I'm confident I can officiate the game. I just there's rotations and stuff. I just felt I needed another year. I mean, just being honest about it.
Talk about it a little bit, Alex. I'm curious of the 2-man crew versus the 3-man crew. So what is that third guy? What's their job in that game?
It's a huge adjustment. It takes a while to get used to. And 2-man, you're in charge of a bigger area. Like the court's divided by a line when you officiate. everything free throw line extended. When the ball's on your side of the court, it's your responsibility, and your partner handles everything else. And 3-man, everything works on a triangle. Like the same thing, you use an imaginary line. Imagine an imaginary line right down the middle of the court, but it's a 3-man crew. The ball's on the right-hand side of the court. This official's in charge of that. You're not supposed to ball watch. If the ball's on the other side of the court, you're supposed to trust your partner. I'm trusting you to make that call. We don't like to step on each other's toes. You're really not supposed to go get something unless you really saw it and they missed it. You know what I mean? You're supposed to trust your partner. Underneath, your baseline guy handles that. Now, you can make the call. Obviously, the end goal is to make sure the call is right. It's not saying you're not allowed to make that call.
Right.
It's like a known thing. You trust it helps. Like, you have 3 sets of eyes on the game instead of 2. But there's adjustments. You don't ball watch as much. You're supposed to you're in charge of your area.
So when you're getting ready to do a game, you and your partner, whoever that may be, and it's probably a different partner most of the time?
Yeah, it rotates. Sometimes it's the same, but it rotates. You work with different guys.
Do you guys do a little review before you go out there and do the game as to who's going to do what?
Yeah, there's always a lead official, trail official, or, your guy, obviously the head official will administer the jump ball, and then the other guy has the other responsibilities. Your lead official is in charge of the score. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know about. Before a game even starts, you have to go make sure the scorer's book's filled out properly. Both teams have each individual that's on their bench listed in the scorer's book, and then each starter's marked on both teams. We've had to give technicals before. We've checked the books out, and then they sub somebody in with the wrong number, something as a technical foul, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on. And the big thing now is that they want us paying attention to is equipment, with guys rolling their shorts down or girls forgetting to take earrings out, and you got to watch with girls, like they wear those clips in their hairs and stuff, and you can get cut on. They have to have certain things. You have to watch. There's a lot of stuff you need to pay attention for.
Mm-hmm. Before you do a game, Alex, do you ever get another official telling you, well, I have that particular school this day, here's what you should watch for? Do you ever get any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've had normally you'll get they'll tell you, like, hey, this coach gets a little bit excited. It's normally something along the coach. It's never really had a problem with players. I mean, obviously, like, if you have a rivalry school, okay, that the game could tend to be a little bit more chippier, and you hold a captain's meeting before the game and let the kids know, and normally they'll pay attention to you. I haven't really had any problems. Scuffles and stuff, just ordinary basketball stuff. I've never had a big problem during a game. Not saying it can't happen. It probably will happen someday. Mm-hmm. But you just try to control it with the the meeting before the game, and for the most part, that does its job.
I've noticed you talking a little bit about technicals. I've noticed so far in the early season, there in the games that I'm covering, there seems to have been a little bit more technicals called than normal. You mentioned one way you call it technicals, or if there's a mix-up in the scorebook or something like that on a team. I'm assuming excessive arguing by a coach or player would create a technical. Language could create a technical. Yeah. Are you noticing more of those? Is it the culture? Is it the way the game is being played?
I think it's just a combination of things. I think this age of kids, I mean, I'm still a young kid, but there's just more leeway. The kids act different nowadays. There's just a huge adjustment. I mean, coaches are very competitive. They like to argue. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just think it's just the game's transition. I mean, look at the NBA game. There's a technical. There's a technical in almost every NBA game every night. In college ball, you see it and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And most of that's probably language, wouldn't you think, in the NBA?
Yeah, language, because, I mean, at that point, they're so good. It's not, I mean, they have a respect factor with the referees and the players. You got to do, I mean, you see it. You see stuff that's warranted for technicals all the time, and the referee guys just, NBA officials just look the other way. Mm-hmm. So.
Do you find yourself sometime just looking the other way?
Yeah, I do, because if you avoid the confrontation, I'll acknowledge a coach. If the coach is respectful to me, he says, hey, pay attention to this, well, I will. They have some leeway with me, but if they're constantly harping, making a scene, then you have to, as an official, you have to make that stop, because if you don't, they'll just take it for granted, and it'll become a problem for, future games down the road. You know what I mean? I don't ever look to give a technical foul. That's that person's job.
Sure.
You know, that's that player's job. But if they deserve it and they push the envelope too much, you have to.
You have to, because you can't keep delaying the game. And
it just
I
can
understand that. Do you ever sometimes, like, say you make a call and then there's this argument, and into yourself you're saying, well, maybe I didn't make the right call.
Yeah.
Would you allow that coach or player to argue a little bit more, or you would still stay on the
No,
same
you
level?
have to still hold your ground. You gotta. I mean, listen. I've missed calls before. Everybody does.
Everybody, we're human.
Yeah. Everybody. I'm not perfect. I miss a call. You know what I mean? It happens. You have to stick to your nature, unless there's things that are correctable errors. If you miss something, an inadvertent whistle or something like that, it's correctable. You have you're allowed to correct it. Now, if it's an uncorrectable error, they call it, you live with it. You have to move on. And yeah, you have to shut it down, you know, the complaining and stuff like that. Normally I'll say, Coach, I missed it, or Coach, we missed it. And my thing is if I acknowledge it to them, it's kind of like, well, they have nothing else to say. They're like, well, he admitted it. You know what I mean? But if you sit there and argue with them, that makes you look bad. You know what I mean? You just have to move on.
Well, the times I've seen you, Alex, I haven't seen you yet this year.
Yeah.
I don't think you've done any Spartan games, have you?
I've been in Ashtabula and towards Cleveland quite a bit.
Yeah. The games I've seen you do so far in your young career, I think you do an outstanding job.
I appreciate that.
And
I got a
keep
long
up the
way
good
to go,
work.
but-
I can't wait to see you get into some varsity action.
Yeah.
Alex is also here to talk about our favorite thing, the three big sports teams in Cleveland. We got one that has turned things completely around, one that has went the opposite way, and one that's kind of like in the middle right now. So let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers first.
Oh, boy.
Watched a little bit of their game last night. They really struggled to score. Normally that's not their case, though. They seem to be able to put points on the board.
Yeah.
Problem with them, I see, Alex, is they can't stop the other team from
I
putting
see what
points on the
they
board.
battled back. What they have 9 points at the end of the first quarter?
Yes,
last night?
9 points, and it was like 4 minutes before they scored their first field goal.
My goodness. Listen, the NBA, it kills me to say it. We all knew what was coming. LeBron leaves. It's a spiral effect. I mean, it kills me to see. You can say what you want about the guy, but he might go down as the greatest of all time. I mean, it's a spiral effect. And we are just in unfortunate circumstances in Cleveland, being a small market that we are, because that article just come out, and I truly, truly believe it. Like, LeBron had trouble recruiting players to come to Cleveland, even when he's there. Now, whether they want to play with him or not, he was there for 4 years, and he struggled to get people to go there. Kyrie left, whether, you'll never fully know. They'll never tell you the truth of that story, but, he wanted out. And I just think it's just a really, really hard. The NBA has changed to where they can say what they want. You cover sports. You're smart. Who runs the league? Them players run the league nowadays.
Yeah, especially in the NBA.
Yeah, they run the league. They can force your hand into anything. And we're going to have to build from the draft. And, it looks like there's 2 kids that could definitely be LeBron James, and maybe not as good as him, but the R.J. Barrett and Zion Williams kid are both, transcendent players, and hopefully we're lucky enough to get one of them. Mm-hmm. But you're hoping your team loses. We're hoping the Cavs lose.
Yeah,
at least I am.
Yeah, tank, and then you got to tank in order to get better.
It's just how it goes.
How that sport works.
Yeah.
You mentioned LeBron James in the big comment. I guess it's turned into a controversial comment.
Yeah.
Because he said it on national TV with Rachel Nichols about. He told Rachel, I've always been able to recruit. I've been recruiting all my life.
Yeah.
I just can't recruit them to come to Cleveland.
Yeah.
I can recruit them to come to Miami and to LA, but they don't want to come to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Well, that created a little controversy. What do you think, Alex? Was he trashing the city to protect himself, that nobody wants to play with him? Or
I honestly think coming from him, I don't necessarily think it was trashing the city, because I know that he hasn't done a ton in actual Cleveland itself. When he played there, yeah, the economy, everything, but you look at what he does back for his hometown, Akron, in the area. I don't think it's him trashing it. I think it's LeBron's smart, you know what I mean? He knows what he's saying. He knows everyone's going to twist, and, the cryptic tweets that he's always put out. I don't think it's him trashing the city. I just think it's him saying, hey, Cleveland, it's not all my fault I left, in a way. You know what I mean? It's maybe covering himself a little bit so he doesn't look that bad, but I also think that there's some truth into it. I just do, because look at who they tried to get guys. and you could never get a free agent to sign. And it's just, I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's the reality of it too. That's my opinion. I could be totally wrong, but that's how I feel on it.
What was your take on early in the year? I think maybe they were 2 or 3 weeks in when they let Tyronn Lue go.
I didn't like it, but Dan, his thing is he doesn't like losing. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think that
Nobody does.
no, that they get bashed in the media. He can only take so much of it, and I mean, like, he just pulls the trigger. I didn't think it was fair to Tyronn because you let that guy coach, let him see what he's capable of doing. But I mean, that's what the NBA owners pay billions of dollars for, to have that power. That was his decision.
NBA trading deadline just around the corner here, about another 4 or 6 weeks. I think it's sometime in February, around the All-Star break anyway. Your thoughts on what they should do with Kevin Love?
It's a tough call. I don't know. I guess you.
Very likable man.
Yeah, he is. I guess I don't know. I don't have those doctor's reports in front of me. I don't know how bad the injury is. They can say what they want, do what they want. Did they shut him down a year to tank? You know what I mean? If Kevin Love plays, he's good enough. He's going to win you a couple games.
Never thought about that, Alex.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
No, about the comment you just made about did they shut him down to tank?
Yeah.
That never even crossed my mind.
You know what I mean? Maybe not. Listen, if Kevin Love was healthy, I think that the guy would want to play basketball. I mean, that's their job. But if there's question and mark like, hey, Kevin, let's make sure it doesn't feel any better any sooner. Let's just have you sit down. You know what I mean? Because who knows? You know what I mean? You don't know what goes on. They'll never admit that. But I truly believe that that's a possibility.
I never thought that, but now that you're saying it, I do think that could be a very good possibility.
You could see him sit the rest of the season unless they move him. I don't know.
But he is injury prone too.
I don't think they intend to move Kevin Love because of the contract that they gave him. You're going to find it very hard in the way that this league's being run right now for some GM and for some team to take that contract on with the money that they just gave him.
Isn't it funny? For the last 2-3 years, we always heard Kevin Love's going to be the guy to leave. Yet Kevin Love is still the guy that's here.
Yeah, he's the one that's here staying. Yeah.
Tristan Thompson, he bounced back and was having a decent to good year prior to his injury. Your thoughts on him and what they should do?
You might. Another thing with him, you might see him moved, but again, he's been playing really well. I don't know. That's a coin flip with him because I do think that he's someone you could. I don't know if you can't build a team around Tristan Thompson, but he's a key. He could be a key piece in a team making a championship run. I mean, let's just call it the way it is. He played a role when the Cavs won the title, and he played a role in those championship runs. I mean, he's a good defensive player. I just don't. I think if somebody gives the Cavs, if somebody actually wants to take that contract on and they give them something in return, whether it's decent or I don't know, you could see him move. But again, it all comes down to that's the only thing that got the Cavs in a lot of trouble is when LeBron was here, we gave out all these bad contracts. You know what I mean? But it's a feel-good story. You know, JR got paid. Well, JR helped you win a championship, but now it's hurting you. It hurt him. You know, yeah, he's gone now, but you see the fact of it, the fact that played in the whole debacle that the Cavs are in right now.
Alex Polchowsky, my guest here on Around the Town with Chuck, and again, we're taping the show on Thursday, December the 27th. One more thing on the Cavs before we move on. Alex, they have 8 wins right now, 8-27. That's the worst record in the National Basketball Association.
Keep losing.
Do you see 20 to 25 wins, or is that too many?
No, I don't. I don't see how that's possible.
Less than 20 then.
Yeah, I just don't see it. I watch them they just don't have that. There's nobody playing right now that can take you over a game. Yeah, there's NBA talent on the roster. Somebody's going to get hot. Jordan Clarkson probably win you a game one night. But over the course of a season, it's just not going to happen. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? You know, Delhi, these guys play hard. They'll win a few games. Guys from the D League will get called up.
By accident, you're going to win a few.
Yeah, they're not going to. You know, I mean, you've seen that already. I mean, even last night they battled back. They were in the game. You were within 10 points. An NBA game, when you're within 10 points, you got a shot. You know the game. Yeah. So, but I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see it. Especially if they move Tristan at the deadline and you don't see Kevin Love suit back up this year. I don't think they even get anywhere close to 25 wins.
So what do you tell the fans that you want them to tank? What do you tell the fan that's buying a ticket that wants to go see them play hard and win?
I'm glad that I'm not. I'm glad that I'm not in that position. I'm glad that I'm not in that position.
I always think about the poor fan. You know, they're paying the big money
If
to
I
go see
could,
the Cavs.
if I could write Dan Gilbert a letter, I'd tell him to get rid of the Cavs and bring me an NHL team to Cleveland.
Oh,
That's what I would do. That's my message to him. But that's just
Okay.
my own opinion.
all right. We started with the Cavs. Now we'll go to the Indians because we're going to close out with a bright note when we
Okay.
talk about the Browns. That's weird saying that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go to the Indians now. The Indians have made a lot of moves, and they're probably not done making moves.
Yeah.
Moves that have not sat too well with most of the fans, but
It's
they're
just-
trying to explain it as we're still trying to be competitive, still in the Central Division with these moves, and anytime you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. That's what the message they're giving me. What message are they giving you?
This is another tough situation that the Tribe's in because they pushed all their chips in last year and the year before trying to win the thing, and we're very close. It just didn't fall our way. Injuries, limping into the playoffs. You know how just unfortunate luck. And like now they find themselves where they had this big payroll. You know, they dumped Edwin because they wanted the contract gone because they didn't want to pay him that money this year.
Did that bother you?
A little bit, but it's so hard to say because like I don't know. I just don't know what they got so many mixing things go. Like I just was on my way in here and there's articles popping up. I mean they're in hot trade discussions trying to move Corey Kluber again right now this morning.
To the Padres, right?
And I heard the Cincinnati Reds are interested.
Yeah, I heard that. Dodgers.
The Dodgers. I heard that our front off. I mean, there's just so many articles come out. You don't know what to believe. But supposedly the Indians want Cody Bellinger real bad. I keep hearing that name. That they
I
want.
like that name.
You know, what I mean, I hear that
The powerful outfielder, right?
Now, if they did that for Kluber, you know, what I mean, then okay, you have my approval. But I just think that they're strapped for cash, and they have. I hope what they're doing is trying to clear money to pay Frankie Lindor so you don't lose him. You know what I mean? Or maybe one of their things in the future. Yeah, he's still locked up under contract, but
It's not going to happen.
It's not. He's gone.
I don't care how much money they give him.
Yeah,
He's not going to stay.
it's there. He's gonna go. He's gonna be. It's gonna kill me. His kid's gonna be in
My
pinstripe.
opinion.
He's probably gonna be in pinstripes or in Boston. You know what I mean? Because he just can't turn the money down. But I don't. What are your thoughts on it? Because I don't know what to make
Thoughts
on the Indians. All these moves. You know, Brantley's gone. Brantley's gone to Houston. You know what I mean? Like because we couldn't pay him. And
Well, you know, Brantley doesn't bother me that much with him being gone because, yeah, he was able to stay on the field
Yeah.
most of the year, all of the year. I don't think he ever did get hurt. Right now, they're searching for outfielders.
yeah, which I understand.
Now, I get shot down by everybody. Maybe you'll shoot me down too, and that's fine. You please do.
No.
You want an outfielder out there. You already got one on the club that you can put out there. He's proven he can do it in 2016. You know who I'm going to say, Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
Why can't you put him in left field?
I don't. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it as long as he don't. I mean, maybe they're worried about him not feeling comfortable anymore because he's so comfortable at second, or so comfortable playing in the infield.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled
Give
with
this a
all the
second.
moves. The one that bothers me the most is the Jan Gomes trade.
Yeah,
That one I feel you'll never know. But right now what I see that they got in return doesn't look all that great.
Nah.
But it could turn out to be. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I don't like that trade. Encarnacion is as excited I was 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they got him.
You were excited.
Not excited to see him leave, but it really doesn't bother you that much, even though he had the homers and the RBIs. But
Yeah.
how much of them were game changers?
No, I get it. I know he froze up in playoffs, and it sticks in your head. And
I
he
don't
got
want to
hurt.
trade Bauer. I'd rather keep Bauer than I would Kluber.
Yeah,
I don't want to trade either one of them.
I just think
But-
you got to make. I mean, if you're gonna move these guys, if you're gonna move Bauer or Kluber, you gotta make sure that you get in return. You gotta make sure you get back what they're worth in return. I know it's hard to do that sometimes, but
When you say that, you mean ready-made major leaguers?
yeah, I think so.
Rather than the prospects.
I can't roll the dice on prospects when you got somebody like that.
You're
Kluber's
going to
had
live
his-
long enough to see prospects.
Yeah.
I don't know about us
Yeah,
older
I
people.
don't- I need somebody that can play. I can't roll the dice on a prospect for a 20-game winner. I can't do it.
If they make another move,
Yeah.
Can they still win the division with that starting pitcher?
As of right now, yeah, but I think so. I don't think anyone's done anything drastic that can change that they're better than the Tribe in the division, although the Indians' bullpen's going to be a big question now.
They've done nothing there to
Yeah,
address that yet.
And it's a mess.
Yeah, it is a mess, which makes me, outside of maybe
Andrew,
Brad Hand
yeah.
and the Simber boy,
Yeah.
who wasn't exactly stellar, but
Yeah.
we'll wait and see on him. But am I happy? No, I'm not happy. To be honest, I'm not happy with the moves they're doing.
I don't know. I think they have in their back pocket how much promise the Bieber kid showed them last year, the Shane Bieber kid, that that this front office is content moving either Bauer or Kluber. I think that they're just gonna, I don't know.
And Clevenger's big year.
Yeah, and Clevenger. I mean, if he can stay, he gets healthy or whatever. And I just think, hopefully at the very worst they trot out, Clevenger, Bieber, Bauer. You locked Cookie up, which was cool. I think that's the interesting thing. I think Cookie has more talent than all of them. He just has never been able to show it consistently. Yeah, that's my opinion. I don't know if you feel that way, but I think he's got more talent than just about all of them. But he's streaky, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let's go to the Browns. Wrap up our show talking the Browns now. Isn't it funny that that's the team that right now everybody's talking about? And I did predict going into this season that in 2 years they would be the best team in Cleveland. I think I'm going to turn out to be right.
You're going to be right.
Your thoughts on the Browns and Baker Mayfield right now?
I'm excited for the first time in a long time. I've had season tickets for a very long time, and for the first time in a long time, I did not dread waking up on Sundays driving up to Cleveland this year. I was excited. And it just continues to grow. I'm bummed because you look back at the season, and this Sunday they should be playing to go to the playoffs instead of, you know what I mean? That's woulda, coulda, shoulda, though. But I'm excited. I'm pumped. I mean, it looks like you finally got your franchise quarterback. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable saying that, and I'm comfortable with who's running the team. I mean, you got a football guy running the team, and you look at what he's done in Kansas City, and look at what he's done here, and he hasn't missed on a lot of picks or a lot of moves that they've made. I mean, he's been right way more than he's been wrong. A lot of people don't talk about it. He was right again here just the other day, because who's out of the league again? Josh Gordon's bye-byes.
Oh, yeah.
And, I'm not trashing that kid. I hope he gets his life right.
So much talent.
Yeah, I hope he gets his life right. But Dorsey got bashed a little bit by moving him.
Yeah.
And and Josh Gordon had a real good year for New England, but Dorsey was right again. I mean, the kids might not ever play in the NFL again.
Well, he was right. Drafting Baker Mayfield and Denzel Ward, something Chuck Guglielmo was not happy with. And I'm eating crow, and I'm glad I'm eating crow because that means my team is doing good.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts when they drafted those two, 1 and 4?
I, surprisingly, and you can go on the record with my friends if you don't believe what I'm about to say.
Is David one of them?
No, David, your son's a wild card.
Wild card.
He just sent a text in there. We have a group chat with our friends the other day, and he sent a text the other day. Your son's the most negative person.
Oh, tell me about it.
He's like, Sam Darnold's only 22 and Baker's 24, and Darnold's going to be better. He just to take a shot, but he does it just to get a rise out of us.
I told him you were coming on my show. He says, he didn't tell me anything about it.
he texted me. But, no, they addressed 2 positions of need. And you didn't have a cornerback. And I think that they felt, they get a lot of people wanted the Bradley Chubb kid that went to Denver. You know what I mean? And I was one of them. And he's had a very good year. But let me tell you, our defensive line's had a good year too. And I think that Dorsey believed, I think he's seen enough with who was on our defensive line. He believed enough in them to where he thought Denzel Ward was maybe not the better player, more important to our team going forward than maybe that Chubb kid was. And I'd say that, I don't know, Denzel Ward's had a pretty good year. He concerns me because unless he learns how to tackle, he's going to have a real short career. I mean, he's concussed again in concussion protocol for the second time. But I don't know, I liked it. And obviously, you look like you hit a home run with the quarterback. And that's the most important position in the NFL.
You okay with his off the wall comments that
Yeah,
he comes up with?
I don't. I think the media just looks for something to talk about, and that's the story right now. Like, if it was other than more of him just taking shots at Hugh Jackson, I'd have a problem with it. But there's something that went on that you might not ever know it until he's retired. You might not
Obviously,
ever know.
there was something. Yeah.
Yeah, because like he holds a vendetta against him.
Yeah.
So whether it's, I have my own opinion on it, but I don't have a problem with it. It's going to get washed under the rug. He's not doing it to everybody.
Yeah.
He does it to him.
I'm laughing because you mentioned the media, and it was so evident in the first game with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I thought I was watching the Hugh Jackson show because that's
know.
all they had the cameras on.
I know. I was at the game Sunday, but I heard your son. I think your son texted us and said that they hadn't showed Hugh at all.
No,
they
not like the
him.
first time they played.
Would
him.
they show him at the very end of the game or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. Very interesting. So this Sunday, of course, they close out playing the Baltimore Ravens
Yeah.
in a game that can decide whether the Ravens or the Steelers win that AFC North. Alex, you're going to root for the Browns, right?
Yeah.
Even though you don't want the Steelers to get the playoffs.
I want to root for the Browns. I want to root for the Browns because I think if the Browns win, that Dorsey gets forced into keeping Greg Williams and
You
Freddie
want Greg?
Kitchen. I think he's.
How can you not want him?
I think the man's deserved a shot. I think he's deserved a shot at it. I just do. The players, when you look at it, yeah, they've been in the playoff hunt the whole time. When the guys don't quit and they continue to play for him and they just continuously gotten better. And here's something that no one else talks about that much. The Browns have been banged up a little bit. When has it been in the future that they've been banged up and found ways to win games?
Exactly.
You were without Schobert I know he's back, but you were without him. Mm-hmm. You were without Christian Kirksey. You were without Denzel Ward. Them are three key starters, and they were finding ways to be competitive and win ball games.
Yes.
In the past that never happened. Mm-hmm. You get blown off the field, but they're in games, and I just think that I don't know. That's my opinion. But
Percentage chance of Greg Williams being the coach next year?
I think it's. Right, give it to me if they win Sunday. If the Browns win Sunday,
That'll decide it.
I think if the Browns win Sunday, that's your coaching staff next year. And I think even if they lose, it's got a real strong chance. I don't know. Dorsey's always wanted to hire his own guy and everything, but Baker's come out and said he loves Freddie Kitchens. These guys seem to be playing for Greg Williams. Again, I don't know. But I think that it's got a legit shot to be, whether it's the right thing to do or not, only time will tell. But I think it's, how can it? Yeah. What do you think? Do you think he'll be back?
No.
You don't?
I want him back.
Do you think Freddie Kitchens will be back?
No.
Both are gone.
But I want them both.
Wow.
I really don't. I think they would have made that decision by now.
You agree with your son on that?
Oh, really? Don't call me negative Chuck, though.
Googs wants them.
But I want them both.
Yeah.
Yeah, David wants somebody like 30 years old, like the Rams have.
He wants, yeah.
Anyway, Alex, I could go on and on and on with you. Time is up. Someday I got to get you over to my house where we can have this camera in the house that we can go on for hours talking sports.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much for having me on.
Alex Polchowsky, local referee and a big-time Cleveland sports fan, my guest on Around the Town with Chuck.